Are you ready?
Let's take our talents to Beach like LeBron did. Yeah. So last year, Tua and Tyreek was probably one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos of all time, and well, not all time. I should say of the season.
Well, I
But
mean,
yes, well, when
Weeks.
Tua was healthy and Tyreek was healthy, this was a unstoppable duo, especially for anyone on the field. They fell just a half a game from hosting a playoff game. They went into the fourth coldest game in NFL history against the Kansas City Chiefs. They came up just short. But listen, there's still this duo here. There's still Jalen Waddle. There's still Tyreek Hill. And they bring in a guy who was from New York as we go into the offense here. So we go in, there we go. So Odell Beckham Jr. is now a Miami Dolphin for $8 million or something ridiculous like that. I don't understand it. But the thing I have to talk about, though, here,
okay, I'll let
the Dolphins were the most poached team of the offseason. They lost Mike Hunt. They lose Van Ginkel. They lost a lot of pieces. Like, this team got
coordinator.
They lost a lot of pieces.
So I'm gonna say this thing that's gonna actually make Dom pretty happy. So, like, I believe in the Miami Dolphins last year, assuming they do the thing, like they put things together. They, again, last year showed how they can't win in, like, the playoff fashion, like cold weather, sustaining injuries, all those things. I said, assuming they stay healthy, they should be really good. And then when it comes down to playoff time, they should be in a position where they're playing at home.
I mean, they had such unfortunate injuries, though, last year. Jalen Phillips blew out the Achilles.
But, like, what did I say last year? I said this is a good team, but if they have any injuries in key positions, it's over.
Well, I mean, that's not even played half these guys because the games were, like, at a loss or a win in that matter.
Like, this is where, like, you remember, I was a big on the Miami train last year. Miami and Detroit were my two teams outside of the Eagles that I was all in on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, I said the same exact thing. Well, every team deals with injuries. Yeah. Every team. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're any team. You get a position, you get your quarterback hurt, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, they once again suffered injuries and fell off. Again. At what point is it actually a team thing? Because the Eagles had this where we were just every year after year, the most injured team. Somehow won a Super Bowl in there, but it was a thing. Like, I thought that, no, I made the same mistake. This is a freak thing, getting all of these whole position groups hurt. And it happened again. The whole offensive line they were on second and third string players at every position when the Eagles played them.
Mm-hmm.
And they just got decimated. They couldn't, like, the reason they lost that game, they very well should have won. The reason they lost is because they couldn't protect the quarterback.
Yeah.
Because of backups.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be all in on them again. I just can't do it. I'm to the Dominic side.
Like Teron Armstead, which when you remember him as a Saints left tackle, hey, good luck trying to go against him. That was the Tyron Smith of the NFC South. I don't know, but like it was like kind of like, oh, hey, he was going to retire. Like, they kind of got him to come back this year and play again. And then you have Liam Eichenberg, who you draft. Now he's a backup to Aaron Brewer.
But I like him, though. He's going to be.
And you still have the track meet in Raheem Mostert,
fast
as hell. Devon Achane, fast as hell. Jalen Wright's going to be a star in this team. I think he will be a star.
Discount the fact that they're always going to have good skill position guys.
Yeah.
It's the line and the defense that keep getting hurt.
Yeah.
And they can't replace them. They can't step them in.
I mean, this offense is going to produce. It's going to be so exciting. It's going to be explosive as all hell. It's going to have the weeks where Devon Achane has, 75 touchdowns in a week. It's going to happen. And it'll be awesome.
Like, the big thing, like, before you get going, Dom, that shows me that they haven't fixed it is they signed Driscoll from the Eagles. And I know our lads is wrong a lot, but they have him as a backup guard. That's a tackle.
Jack Driscoll. Yeah, Driscoll.
He was our backup tackle that we would put at guard because of Stoutland. like the fact that you have him penciled in immediately as your backup right guard shows me you don't have depth at the position at all. Still,
I mean, I don't know. Even Isaiah Wynn wasn't. He was okay, good, kind of. That's a tough one for me being there. Like, I don't know if that's gonna be super effective either.
I
But
also like that we haven't mentioned Jonnu Smith at all.
no, I was getting there. I do like Jonnu Smith being there and stuff. But again, when the
they're
Dolphins
not going to use him.
yeah, the Dolphins just don't use tight ends like that. That's why Gesicki's
Well,
not.
if you're a blocking tight, well, Gesicki couldn't block. If you can block
John
and
Smith
help
isn't
the
the best
run,
blocker. Jonnu Smith.
Jonnu Smith is going to see the field. Durham Smythe is still going to see the field. Like,
Yeah,
They don't use him though.
but
They
Jonnu
do
Smith
not use tight ends.
is a utility tight end that can do a lot for your offense in a lot of different ways when you use him that way. The Patriots did for like 2 games and then didn't, and that sucked. The Falcons did. That was cool, and the Titans did. But outside those 2 teams, I don't know.
Like they made me look like a fool last year, believing them, and I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna look like a fool again. They're an incredibly talented team. If they do well, I won't be surprised. But assuming that they have to stay healthy.
Yeah.
If they don't stay healthy at all, they're gonna be terrible. They'll get easily passed by the Jets, and the same thing will happen. They might be third because the Bills somehow passed them. The Bills are terrible.
And you know what? We've watched. So before this show, obviously, we did the NFC North, right? Yeah, NFC North. And I'm pretty sure the Dolphins.
Question that was only like an hour ago.
Listen, all right. The Dolphins were like on all of those schedules, I think, or maybe it was just one. I don't know. But when I got to the Dolphins,
it was just the Packers.
just the one. Okay, I said all. Whatever. It was late in the year that the Packers played the Dolphins, and I said, you know what? I think that might be a Packers win because there could be a lot of injuries on this Dolphins team.
No, regardless, they lose.
Oh, I don't know where.
Florida teams playing. Well, yeah, Florida teams playing in like Lambeau Field and like November and like beyond.
I don't know if it was
very few wins compared
Just
to
ask
a
Odell
bunch of
going to Miami before Green Bay works.
That's also true. All right, let's go to the defense.
So on the defensive side of the ball, the question marks though, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, your best 2 pass rushers on this team. Like, how healthy they're going to be? They both blew out their Achilles super late into the year. Again,
they both blew out their Achilles, so they probably won't be 100% until sometime around week 6 or 7.
100% maybe.
But Chop Robinson does take some of that if he beefed up a little bit more. He was a little small.
And you got Dom's guy, Anthony Walker Jr.
I do love him, but he's like a Dante Hightower guy kind of.
They got a lot of depth though too, like Shaquille Barrett, which we've seen him with the Buccaneers. Like
that could be big.
They fixed some of the depth on defense, but why not the offensive line? Like you're an offensive based team.
Yeah, but see, there's a lot of changes on this.
Well, they got Jordan Poyer.
Yeah, they got Jordan Poyer after he was cut from Buffalo. Calais Campbell goes from Atlanta now to Miami.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad.
Kendall Fuller's now a part of the system.
Oh, they have Storm Duck. That's great.
Marcus May.
Which is
Storm Duck is like my favorite name ever.
Should have stayed at Penn State.
It's not a bad team at all. I don't think on defense.
I think the defense is, for what the injuries are right now, it's good.
But it wasn't a bad team on defense last year, and I don't think they performed as well as they could have.
Well, they somehow. Well, again, that game was like negative 30 degrees. So
yeah, like it's like no one's like you can't teach that cold.
Well, I'm talking about the whole season, not just.
No, I'm trying to think of like later in the year when it's crunch time. Plus, they had already had injuries. Like they still did well, but again, that game was. That's for no one who has not experienced it. That's a different level cold.
Yes, very much so.
No, McDaniels had the shirt. I turn up the cold or whatever it was.
No, you don't want that cold. You don't want that cold.
Listen, I remember. I still have all the beer photos saved in my phone. I was like, man, just imagine trying to drink a cold one here and just. You can't.
No, at the time I tried to have one in here that was already.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It exploded during one of the episodes. He tried to be like, "I'm gonna open this beer," so quietly. Bah!
It immediately blew up.
It was like robbing a bank. Like it was just like, nah. Everyone needs to know you're opening this thing. I don't really have much else to say on this defense, though.
I think maybe if they if they still stay healthy, because the defense gets hurt too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If Phillips and Chubb are just all right and they ride it out until they're back to 100%, they could be something again. Like this defense could be like a top 10 defense.
Oh, I think easily. Even with them not there, it could be.
When did Ramsey really come back?
Like week 6 or 7.
I think it was,
Yeah.
But it was a couple
7
more.
or 8,
It was a couple more weeks before he was like him.
They
again.
played. So they played the Patriots in Miami. That's his first game back, and then they went to Germany. So like week 8.
Yeah.
So
They weren't rushing him back at all. They're like, hey, like take your time. But he was like rehabbing as fast as he could.
If they stay healthy, I'll pick them to win the division, even over the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I'd expect Jalen Ramsey to be better
than he was last year.
Yeah, easily, because I know how the meniscus thing goes, and I know what his surgery was, and it's different. And I'm sure every step he took for like a full month, like every normal step, not even on the field or backpedaling, every normal step he took for a full month was so weird to him, I'm sure. So like, I'd imagine now that he's used to it and living life like that for a year, that like he gets it.
Yeah.
It's different.
A healthy Miami team wins the division, even over that really good Jets team.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I don't. Maybe. Yeah. No. That offense. If the offense just doesn't get hurt at all, I mean, this team is crazy insane. But
also, what's the deal with Tua?
He's on this 5th-year option. He's going to show up.
Okay, so he's incentivized to play well again.
Yeah. But I mean,
and with that receiving core, I mean,
yeah.
Hey,
I see
it works with him.
Less though. I really do.
Especially with this offense.
He led the league in passing last year, which when I saw it, I was like,
me. He actually stayed healthy.
Yeah.
He looked good. When Tyreek was healthy, he was really good.
100%.
Well, Waddle was never really healthy either last year, so like that's another big thing.
That's also true.
So like again, you take away any big number 2 and then number 1, like you're not going to do well regardless. It just doesn't work that way. Like doubles exist.
Well, Waddle was basically taken away for many games, and I mean with him and
immediately
Tyreek.
he was hurt real early.
Yeah, and they obviously performed because of the running backs and Tyreek. So
exactly,
they have guys.
He was questionable from like the start of the year.
Yeah,
and they were able to sustain it with the run game and Hill, and then the offensive line got hurt, and then it was.
Waddle killed people in fantasy last year, that's for sure. Because they relied on him. All right, let's look at the schedule.
So the schedule here, the Battle of Florida to start the season, and then you go right up to Buffalo for the AFC East rematch.
We're lucky to go to Buffalo in the beginning.
I remember we said that. We made a big point about that last year, which I might have already fallen into that trap. But like we said, we really thought by the time they went to Buffalo last season.
Yeah, they went there like week 4.
Yeah. They're undefeated by bye week, I think, this year.
Like, they don't have
I mean, playing the Seahawks on the road is going to be difficult.
Yeah, but assuming the Dolphins still will be fully healthy by then, I think. I mean, I don't know.
And you still have the Titans who, let's not forget, they beat them on Monday night last year, the Titans. They gave them a run for their money last year.
What week was that?
Week 14?
Yeah, they were done.
It's late though.
They were done.
I know it was late in the season. I know Tyreek hurt his ankle. He came back and he was still playing. But like,
wow, Jets week 18. I know we just looked at it with on the Jets schedule, but like,
that could be an insanely competitive, insanely.
That could be for it could also be like one of the 1 or 2 seed of the versus a wild card.
Yeah, that could be. For the first,
I don't even want to look at the Jets game. Look at the game the week before. If that stays how it is, they got to play the Browns in Cleveland in the end of December.
Oof.
A night game too, by the way. Night game.
Even colder than what it is.
So 2 losses, maybe 3 losses before they play the Jets for the winner take all of the division.
And before week 13 to 18 is a hard stretch because that week 13 is also in Green Bay
on Thanksgiving, where Green Bay always wins on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's a tough freaking stretch, bro.
Wow, that might even be 6 losses. Like, depending on how the last Jets game goes, that could be 6 losses to end the year.
And if the Dolphins aren't healthy,
Again,
forget about it.
again.
Yeah, that's tough, bro. That's difficult. But leading up to that, I think they have a reasonably easy schedule and could win pretty much all the games.
Well, so
I'm sorry, I lied. They don't play Buffalo till week 9 in Buffalo. I read that wrong. I thought it was.
Yeah, you're right.
that's still early. Though.
That's still not bad.
Early November versus January.
Yeah, getting Buffalo done that early is kind of nice for them.
I don't know. I still think this is like a double-digit team. I think like 10 wins is still perfect.
Easily.
You know, I could still chalk up a sweep of New England. I can confidently, I'll say, they beat the Jaguars. They'll beat the Titans. I'll say they start 1-2. No one could really play in Seattle that well on the road at any point. Colts, Cardinals. I'll say they could beat the Rams. They could definitely beat the Raiders.
I mean, Miami fully healthy is as good as any team in the league.
Easily.
Yeah.
If Miami was fully healthy, if injuries were turned off for Miami for the whole season, they could go undefeated. But
they're soft.
outside of the cold. But yeah. So I don't know.
No, then they get to play at home.
Well, not those last 2 weeks.
No, if they never mind.
Oh, you're saying for playoffs? Yeah, that's true. I think 10. Well, I feel like 10 is floor.
I mean, does anyone have a defense that could keep up with the track meet that the Dolphins can provide on offense? I don't think there's any defense that can.
Except
really
for maybe the Jets.
There are a couple fields that can.
Yeah, there's a couple fields like the Jets.
They got to play a cold MetLife turf week 18.
There's a very cold Cleveland game that I'm looking dead in the face.
That too.
And you still got to play the Niners too. Like
that could very well be a blizzard game. By the way.
Yeah.
That Browns game.
Oh, 100%.
That's a really tough back half, right? That might be one of the toughest in the whole league, to be honest.
They really got shafted on that last 6 games.
They could play teams that all end with 10+ wins, 11+ wins, maybe by the end of the season. Maybe outside the Packers, but still. Oh, well, not the Browns. But either way, playing them in the cold is like that. Yeah, that's tough, man.
Just